I'm Simon Applebaum with Tomorrow Will Be Televised. It's the radio show that covers television. We're on blogtalkradio.com Mondays and Fridays at 3 o'clock Eastern, noon on the West Coast. We're here at VideoSchmooze NYC, and we're in a networking break mid-morning on December 3rd, 2013. And what a lot of people are buzzing about is the opening session with two of the top analysts of the field of television, Bruce Leichman, who has his own consulting firm, and Craig Mock, who's been around the Wall Street scene for many years. The big thing that both had to say is cord cutting is very overblown. It's a trickle. It's not a whale. It's not a mammoth movement. A lot of it is not done for the reasons people have been reported as doing it, which is it is more of an economic deal, not a deal of we hate television, we hate pay TV, we hate cable television, we hate satellite. We want to do it, and a lot of it is more switching from one multi-channel provider to another. So it's very interesting that Craig in particular, who I think was very miffed at some of the reporting about comments he made recently that suggested that cord cutting is increasing, he sort of disbanded that and said, hey, no, I've been misquoted, cord cutting is decelerating, not accelerating. But the other thing I think that was very interesting was something else Craig said about Netflix, which is that Netflix may be two things. One, Netflix is now at a point where it's tied with HBO for a number of subscribers. How are they going to progress beyond that? Are they going to hit a wall, or can they, at their current price model, their current structure, including more original content made for that service, will they be able to get past that wall? And will part of that trying to get past the wall depend on them getting better deals with the major studios, the major content players? And what was fascinating was that Craig said, well, when they renegotiate these contracts for product, right now they're getting like the whole product library of a production company or a studio like Viacom or Warner Bros. Will they go and say, look, we want it all, or will they change the tune and say, look, we just want your good stuff. We don't want the garbage. We want the really great product. And one thing that came to my mind was, is that why they made the deal with Disney for this multiple group of shows from Marvel, original shows that will start in 2015? 4 original shows, 13-episode series, plus a miniseries. And is that going to be in the thinking of Reed Hastings and company Netflix from now on, which is, when we're talking good stuff, we want original content. Warner Brothers, we want original content. Paramount, we want original content. Viacom, Discovery Channel, Discovery Communications, MGM, Lionsgate, etc. We want original content, and a lot of it as the good stuff. And it's going to be very interesting to see whether they have already started to get this mentality, and if so, how they're going to play it in the months ahead.
As we go into the free roll data. The first is around content. So we're going to think about what content genres and lengths are being monetized by our clients. So we're going to think about short form and long form content, but also how are things like sports and news being monetized. The next is around device. So how are viewers engaging with their content on different screen sizes? So mobile phones, tablets, OTT boxes, so we're thinking about Rokus, and also gaming consoles, and of course desktops. The next is around distribution. So through our system, we're able to track how clients are using YouTube, how they're syndicating on Yahoo, Grab Media, or how they're using, Comcast Xfinity, for example. So it's really about how do you build eyeballs around your content outside of your owned and operated properties. And then the last is around experience. So we spend a lot of time with our clients thinking about what is the right number of ads to show someone before they kind of change the channel or move to a different screen. So this is about how do you, increase your ad loads while maintaining engagement rates, maintaining click-through rates, and kind of building an audience that's going to stick around for digital video. So, in the last panel we talked a lot about kind of flattening growth in cable television. I think when we think about digital video, and remember our data set is just covering anything over an IP environment, we actually, and this is a story we see every quarter, just continued strong growth in both ad views and video views. So this quarter, same story as always, but a couple of good messages. One is very strong growth in video views of 20% year over year. which is great because that's just showing you that the audience is growing around digital video and people are finding premium content in digital environments. You know, the even better story is that ad views are going up 30%. So we're seeing faster growth in ad views than in video views. People are increasingly watching more ads. And this is actually the first quarter where we've actually seen one ad view for every video viewed. So we're kind of seeing this as an inflection point in the monetization of premium content online. So now when we think about the breakdown of that ad view volume, and two slides ago we showed our client breakdown, we think of them in two broad groups. So programmers and MVPDs. So these are cable networks, broadcast networks, and also increasingly companies like DirecTV and other MVPDs. And broadly speaking, they generate most of their revenue from linear, but now they also have digital presence. We see with these guys online, they have a lot of long form, but also short form and mid form content. The other group we work with is digital pure plays, and this is someone like AOL or Vivo, who operates mostly with short form content, but they're really focused on these syndicated business models and pushing that content out to as many people as possible. And what's interesting this quarter, and this is a trend that we've seen for the past 4 or 5 quarters, is if you look at the green and blue, they roughly split even volume, despite having very different business models. And that's kind of stayed relatively flat. The digital pure plays are at about 47% of our total ad view volume, up slightly from 46%. So it kind of shows you that there's a mixing of these two strategies that we're going to see longer term. More long form content, but also increased syndication that we really think is going to help drive monetization of the premium content in digital environments.
So the 30-second ad unit, it works. It works for advertisers. It changes people's minds. It sells product. It works for publishers. They make a ton of money off of that ad unit still. But as we take that ad unit and we start moving it to all these different screens, and we try to leverage it in many different ways, we better not ruin it. We need to make sure it still works. And that has proven easier said than done. When I am let out of the product basement and I get out and meet with clients and agencies, I always hear this is sort of the common theme, especially when talking to those that are very TV-centric. They'll tell me, Kevin, stop, you're just making this more complex. My world used to be very simple. Just solve my problem for me. The one thing we need to keep in mind as we do that, in this drive to make things simple, the whole goal, the whole point is to make sure that this new convergence of video and television advertising, we need to make sure that it works far better than it was going to happen with the TV and the video convergence over the next 3 years. The full results are going to be available in January. I'm just going to give you a quick snapshot of some early things that we have learned. As I was going through these results, the one thing that I did learn was that y'all don't agree on hardly anything. The one thing that you did seem to agree upon is that it's pretty obvious. There's going to be more original content created, and we're going to be consuming more on our Hulus and our Amazon Primes, and people will do catch-up television on maybe broadcast websites. One of the biggest kind of biases was that TV is not, TV the way we know it is not dying, in that people do expect that first run, the shows we really care about, we're still going to sit down in that living room on our couch and watch those shows. So I think we just had a session on TV everywhere. It probably needs a little asterisk. It's TV everywhere, except for the stuff that we really care about and some of our favorite stuff. You're going to reach consumers that you couldn't reach. It's hard to find consumers these days. There's better targeting is going to become available. There's more interactivity for sure. There's going to be better messaging possible. But the one thing that I found common in a lot of these results was there's a disconnect between the agency and their clients. And the concern that this has, and some examples here would be here where the advertiser's saying, hey, the value I see is in targeting. I see value in better messaging, where the agencies are saying, hey, it's about interactivity, it's about a better audience that I'm reaching with more attention. This disconnect, I think, could slow the adoption if agencies are out talking to their clients about what they see as important and if their clients aren't seeing the same things as important. At the end of the day, we're advertising to sell products. And this convergence of TV and video is allowing better accountability, better measurement, better ROI. At the end of the day, we're doing these tactics to make this happen, to sell products. So I was a little concerned to see that agencies and advertisers don't see value in increased accountability as TV becomes more addressable and more measurable. It was agreed on across the board was that planning for video and television needs to be more holistic. It needs to consider both sides together, even to the point where agencies do feel there's going to be a much quicker consolidation of their buying groups. And not as many really feel that video and TV will continue on as they're going to look like. Will TV look more like digital, or will digital look more like TV? Well, the answer kind of seems to be yes. Maybe a little bit of a bias to where it's a bit more, we're going to look more digital than we will TV. But I do think that a lot of the kind of venture-backed startups out there have kind of driven the future and where things are going a bit too much. At the end of the day, it's not about, will TV look like digital or will digital look like TV. It's about making sure advertising looks like advertising. We shouldn't expect Ford to go out and plan and execute their campaigns in a way that shifts to look like the way that Amazon plans and executes their campaigns. I think had our marketing team asked the right questions here, and I had a graph, they're in the ground there, and I was able to put the reports up by brand, what those brands, the types of products that they sell and how they go to market. I think the results up here would have been much more obvious.
I'm Howard Horowitz from Horowitz Associates, Inc. We were just talking in these last two sessions and just now in conversation that the business of delivering television to people is bigger and better than ever in the next 3 to 5 years. It's bigger because there's more. It's more accessible. It's bigger because there are more players. It's bigger because there's more people bringing the business to consumers. And
What do I do for TV?
And the future lies in the currently 18 to 28-year-olds. They will be the future of television. It'll be a big change coming up.
President of Activation at Opti Media. So basically that means I oversee all the buying teams. As a digital magazine group, a national video team that buys across all platforms, and a local group that buys across at-home, newspaper, radio, local print, etc. My background is a client background, agency side background, sales background for a small set as well. And for me, this topic and everything that you guys are discussing today is very important, right? Because I think that the consumer sees a screen and they don't have a real affinity. They don't say, I'm going to sit down and have my linear viewing TV experience. And I'm going to have my laptop viewing experience or my mobile viewing experience, right? They have an affinity towards content, and it's really what screen is best available and most convenient for them at that point in time. And sort of figuring that out, that ecosystem, and understanding all of the supply points and then measurement, which I'll get to a little bit later, is a lot of what we focus on. We have a fluid video approach to the overall marketplace, really looking at overall supply and overall consumption and how we build out smart plans for our clients in that way.
So before we move on to Eric, John, can you just drop the number, and then you can't drop it when you walk off stage because it started. But how much in dollars do you move every year for your clients?
A little bit over $10 billion.
Okay, thank you. That's why John's here. Eric.
Well, I feel unsafe with this. So I'm Eric Frenchie. I'm co-founder of a company called Undertone. Undertone sits at the intersection of media and creative and technology, and we serve agencies like Zenith, where John's president. We work with publishers to help them monetize media and create new revenue solutions. We've been doing this for quite some time. It was our 12th year in the business, so we've grown up a lot. Obviously, starting in the PC-based era. We've been in the middle of video since about 2006, when the first, I think, pre-roll opportunities really started to present themselves. So we've seen a lot of evolution in video. It's a very important part of our business. It's a significant part of our business. We like video because it's very important to brands, and everything we do is central to working with brands. And again, love everything that we're talking about today, particularly when we talk about how everything is moving across screens, which is things that we've been
I'm Steve Seidman of Seidman Associates, and one of the things that Howard and I were also talking about was the fact that things need to be more seamless for users. There's this idea of authentication and having to determine what provider you get television from, or from whom you are able to get access to be able to stream, depending on what the platform is. It's increasingly complex and requires too many sign-ins, or I don't subscribe to X, but I want to be able to access Y. And I think one of the opportunities, and hopefully this will just come with time and evolution and a little bit more sophistication, is that consumers will find it easier, because right now I think they're finding it quite challenging to be able to get what they want, when they want it, from whoever they want it.